From Wager Me This. I'm just coming on here. I just want to talk to people. If anyone has any questions, definitely want to answer them. We can talk about anything that I do. So if you want to talk about NFL stuff, if you want to talk about craps, if you want to talk about COVID, I don't want to talk about no politics or nothing. Guys, I don't care about that stuff. I can't affect it. They're all the same to me. But if you guys want to talk about anything else, I definitely want to chat with y'all. I know I haven't done this in a while, I haven't been live in a while. I used to do this a lot, but then COVID really derailed my life, man. I'm telling you guys, COVID was rough on me. And I don't want to, for a second, diminish that, because anybody that's dealt with it, man, I'm sorry, it sucks. It's terrible. As you can see, I have my COVID haircut. So I haven't been able to get a haircut. It's terrible. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, obviously I like to talk about the NFL a lot. So I would like to talk about that on here. Craps, we can talk about that. The direction I'm going to go in craps for a while, based upon basically Colorado spending all my money for me. So there's a lot of that there. Yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about, I'm definitely up to talk about it. I did put out some videos today and yesterday, and I plan on making videos every day, or as many days as I can, in the craps world, as well as the NFL stuff. COVID really messed up my ability to focus on the NFL stuff, and I apologize to people for that. But guys, I tried, my brain, COVID messes up the way you think. And it's just a really weird situation. Now I get it's different for everybody, but that's what it did to me. Besides all the other stuff, it messed up the kind of my thought processes. Made it hard, made everything harder. But still, the computer model's in play now, so it makes things a lot easier. As long as you enter the data correctly, you're gonna get good numbers. Hey man, what's up? Thank you, buddy. But yeah, so anything you guys want to talk about, we can talk about baseball and stuff too. But I don't know baseball as well, guys. But definitely can talk about it if you guys would like. It is the playoffs, so I know a lot of people are interested in that kind of stuff. I haven't watched a single baseball playoff game. It's just not my thing. I know a lot of people like to gamble on it, but I've never put the time and effort completely into it. Earlier this year in the summer, I did a little bit, and what I was doing was working. But then the All-Star break came, and then we moved, and there was a lot of stuff involved in why I kind of quit. But anything else, if you guys want to talk about this NFL week, what's gone in the NFL already, I don't want to talk about John Gruden. What's up, Mr. Larry Holloway? I think that's despicable, what happened in that situation. I get that it was 11 years ago or whatever, and everyone, whatever. But I don't put up with that kind of crap, so I don't want to talk about his crap. Hey, Mr. Enslow. But another thing I'm going to talk, I am going to be doing giveaways, but guys, I'm going to wait till I'm back in Arkansas. Guys, I'm going to be back in Arkansas in 2 weeks. November 1st, I'm going to restart my old job back in Arkansas. So it's not like it's going to be very long. Mr. Todd Harrington gave me a bunch of cool stuff to give away from he works on space stuff that goes into space. So he has a bunch of cool like space launch stuff. Yeah, quick turnaround. And so that's a lot of cool stuff he's got that he's given to me to give away. He actually gave it to me to give away to you guys. He's a really cool guy, Mr. Todd Harrington. You guys will see him on people's comments and stuff. He's just a really good man, really cool guy. Just like Larry. Larry's a really cool guy, really good man. Hung out with him quite a bit. But again, guys, as far as the NFL goes, the computer model will just get better and better as it gets more statistics. It'll get tighter and tighter, and it'll be right more and more. It's how it works. It essentially went 57% this week on the first week I put it into play. which is pretty good. I mean, 57% will make you money every year. If you can go 57%, that's kind of like the cutoff for pros is 57%. And it'll just do better and better and better. It's what it does every year. It's the nature of the statistics in the NFL. And it's simple. It's a simple concept in the NFL, guys. Those guys are all pros, except for the Giants right now, because they're so injured. Who knows what they have playing, but those guys are all pros. So the separation between the best pro at their position and the worst pro at their position is not huge. Yes. No, in Arkansas, I'll have to go to the casinos, which is fine. That's what I did last year. It was no big deal. I'll have to go to the casinos, but it's not a huge deal. They're not a really long ways away from me, anywhere I'm at, so not a big deal. Hopefully they change that pretty soon to where I can use DraftKings. And they were talking about it last year. Hopefully they change it, and that'll be much better. But still not a huge deal. I'll just go there. It's not a big deal. Kind of last year, the year before, the year before. I used to have to drive to Mississippi, so well, I mean it was even further. But again, I used to have to use Bet Online, and Bet Online actually screwed me out of a bunch of money one time. So it was old Bet Online though. I know Bet Online's changed now with DraftKings and stuff, and they've had to get more consistent with payouts. But at first they were terrible. So then again, that was a couple years ago, 5 years ago or so. But now, I mean, yeah, I can go just make the bets at the casino. The problem with that, though, is a lot of those places don't necessarily offer all the props or, those styles of betting. If I want a money line parlay, sometimes they don't let you do it, which kind of is crappy, where DraftKings, they don't care. You can bet however you want. They don't care. Their volume is so high, they just don't care. But, so a few NFL games this week that I want to talk about, and I'll get into them since no one's really asking me any questions. Enzo asked me a question, so a few of the NFL games that I wanted to get into is, like for example, one of the ones that people are going to get scared of is this Carolina game, right? Carolina is the better football team in this game. They're getting a point at home. I think a lot of that is recency bias because they had that collapse against Philadelphia. Guys, last week the Carolina handicap was the right handicap. Carolina dominated the game for 3 quarters. 3 full quarters domination, and then Sam Darnold fell apart at the end and gave Philadelphia a chance to get in the game. But Carolina dominated. What I'm saying is that that kind of collapse generally won't happen twice in a row. And so Carolina, don't be afraid to be on Carolina this week at home, and they're even getting a point. You can tease them up to a touchdown. So, I mean, just don't be afraid to be on them just because of what happened last week. Going off what happened last week is a bad way to bet. I'm not saying don't think about it, don't look at it, but like, for example, in Seattle's case, what happened last week is everything. You can't lose your best player, and it's not even close. One of the best players in the NFL. You can't lose that guy. I don't know when McCaffrey's coming back, but from a rushing standpoint, the Hubbard kid does well. He doesn't have the same receiving skills, and obviously Carolina isn't as dynamic without McCaffrey. The problem is they never have him. So it's almost like they don't even have him because he's never healthy. So I don't know. It could be any time. I think they were thinking he might come back last week, but he didn't. So again, just don't be afraid to bet Carolina. I'm not saying go put your house on them, but don't be afraid of them. They still have a really good defense, and they dominated Philadelphia. Right? Yeah, the Panthers were winning 18-6 in the third quarter, late in the third quarter. They were winning 18-6, and Sam Darnold figured out how to give Philadelphia the football game. So it's not just don't read too much into that kind of stuff. The Panthers are still a really good football team. they're going to beat most of the teams that are inferior to them. Yeah, well, Baltimore is at home. It's a West Coast, East Coast travel. That's a big part of it. So one of the things that Vegas always puts a lot of emphasis on is a West Coast team going East Coast in the morning. It's a big thing. They've always put emphasis on it, and that's the situation there. It's an early start. Chargers are going to Baltimore. But the Chargers are getting 3 points, and they're the better football team. I like the Chargers in this one. Actually, I like them a lot. That's crazy about this game is that hold on, I'll get to that in a second, Doctor. Don't pass, because I have to ask you a question. So one of the things with that Chargers and Ravens game that's really crazy is that the Ravens absolutely cannot stop the pass, and the Chargers throw the ball really well. And the Chargers absolutely can't stop the run, and the Ravens run the ball really well. So it's a very unique situation there, which I think is just going to turn into a whole bunch of points. Just kind of like the Chargers in Cleveland. See, Cleveland ran the ball all they wanted on the Chargers because the Chargers can't stop the run. And then, the Chargers obviously threw the ball all over Cleveland. And Cleveland didn't stop the pass very well. But kind of a similar situation here. So one of the things you could look at in this game is the over. And the over's not terribly high at 51.5. I wouldn't be surprised if they got there in the third quarter, just because what the teams do best is what the other team's defense does worse, and it's both sides. So I think you're gonna get a lot of scores, and it's just a kind of a unique spot where it fell that way, where it's good on bad on both sides. But I do think the Chargers are the better football team. But there's always the Lamar Jackson effect. The Colts just felt it. If you give Lamar Jackson too many chances, he'll beat you. And he's actually become pretty accurate passer. And part of that is that when he moves around, he pulls the linebackers in, which helps make throwing lanes. But that's his game. So he's actually really accurate. And I know that's one of the things people always think about him, that he's not accurate. But he's actually really accurate. So, in fact, he's like top 3, which would blow people's mind. But he's definitely put the work in to get there. So Lamar Jackson's a very big X factor. And if you let him hang around, just like the Colts did, he'll beat you. Now, I don't think the Chargers will make the same mistake. Now, the Colts had other problems. They had kicking problems, a lot of other problems. The Colts are the best one-win team there is, I would say. They are so talented, and then they have one win. They took the Rams to the limit. They took the Ravens to the limit. I mean, they're the best one-win team in the NFL. They're a very talented team. It's just they can't seem to win games, which happens sometimes. All right, so to Mr. Dr. Don't Pass, I need to ask you, are you talking about Colorado or Arkansas? Because I'm about to move back to Arkansas. So are you asking me about Colorado table limits and stuff, or are you asking about Arkansas table limits and stuff? Or are you asking about both? I guess I'll just talk about both of them. So, Arkansas only has 3 casinos. They're supposed to have 4, but they only have 3. The other one's been held up in all kinds of legal stuff. So they have one in Pine Bluff. Okay, Colorado, because I'll get to Colorado casinos right now then. So Colorado casinos, I don't know much about Cripple Creek, so I'm not going to talk about Cripple Creek. But I know about Blackhawk and Central City a whole bunch. All right, so the biggest craps table minimum you'll ever see here is $25, and that's in primetime hours. All right, when it's not primetime hours, there used to be a $5 table, but the $5 table the casino don't have. They quit playing craps. So you'll find multiple $10 tables, and then some other $15 tables when it's not prime hours. During prime hours, you'll find $25 tables and $15 tables. and it's always that way. It never changes. Now you also have every kind of bubble craps here, and it's all $1 bubble craps. So it's $1 to 500 or $1 to 1,000. And it's all the kinds of bubble craps machines, from the stadium machines to the individuals. They have every kind of bubble craps here. As far as the comps and stuff here, the comps and stuff here are very normal. They're, because these are the same properties as other places. So it's like Caesars properties, it's MGM properties, it's Maverick Gaming properties, it's Penn Gaming properties. Yeah, so it's all the same essentially. Hey, John. So it's all essentially the same type of comps. The one thing here is that my personal experience with the comps is I've been able to directly ask for things and get them. Now, every time I've done that, it's been off hours and they were accommodating to me. Okay, give me your juice, buddy. So this is my kid, sorry. I know you guys don't care. You guys have been really cool with my kids since the beginning, so why would it change now? I appreciate that, by the way. Hey, quit. Hey, boy, stop. Here, hey, don't squeeze it. Stop. Drink it. Drink it. There you go. He was squeezing his juice box. It was blowing everywhere. But, so, yeah, Colorado casinos, guys, believe it or not, if you want to play craps, Colorado's a place to play craps. There's no doubt about it. All the table surfaces are hard if you're a dice controller. There's one bouncy table in the whole place, and it's at the Monarch, and then it's the only long table. Now there is only one crapsless table, which is obviously a long table, but all the other tables are short, hard, shooter-friendly tables. I actually, on my website, I've actually put some reviews of the tables and have pictures of them. So if you go to my website and you go to the drop down about Blackhawk Casinos, you can see my personal reviews of them. And that's wagermethis.com. I actually type it in for y'all. I mean, most people have been to it, so. But yeah, you can go check out that on there. And I have reviews of all the tables and pictures of most of them. One of the casinos wouldn't let me do it because I don't know why, because they're jerks. But everywhere else didn't care. That's another thing here is they're pretty friendly. The casinos here are pretty friendly. You don't get a lot of issues. The dealers overall are mediocre, but in a few places they're really good. But overall, I would say they're mediocre dealers here. They don't know all the tricks and they don't know all that stuff. But the one good thing here is almost everywhere, in fact, I think everywhere has the ATS. And one of the cool things about Colorado is Colorado has to pay you the best payout that's offered. So all the ATSs are the big ATS, but you also have to make proper bets. But no matter what, they always have to pay you the best payout. So, which is cool. So you don't ever lose any of that little side weird stuff some places do. The limits here, the upper limits are good. You can find them all up to 5,000 if that's your level. I mean, none of them are really below 500, I don't think. But most of them are 1,000 or 2,500, and then there's a few 5,000s. But you can have any limit you want if you just ask. Because I've seen the guys do it. Seen a guy come up with 20, put it on the table, and he said, could he have a $10,000 limit on the table? And they said, yeah, they didn't care. So a lot of stuff here is just, you just ask. Now another good thing here is drinks are all free and it's all good alcohol. It's not cheap. So that's another cool thing. The prices are very normal. Like for the hotel rooms and stuff, it's not outrageous. One cool thing is it's in the middle of the mountains. So you drive up this cool little windy mountain road, and these places are in the middle of the mountains, so they're nice. It's not the desert in Vegas and stuff, but you don't get the shows either. There's not really any shows. There's big poker here, big time poker here. A lot of poker rooms. You can find any game you want pretty much besides like the really obscure ones. So, they only have the one table. I've only played it on it one time. I think it's 6-1 and 3-1, if I remember right. But you have to bet. I think you have to bet $20, if I remember right. I think it's 6-1 and 3-1, but you have to bet $20. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. I've only played on it one time because I'm not a huge craps list player. Because I'm a don't player for the most part, and obviously you can't play the don't on the craps list table, so it's not really my game. But I do like it sometimes. Like I feel like if you have the bankroll to just go across all the numbers, it can be a very lucrative game. But you just really have to have the bankroll for it. So I like the concept of it. I'm a don't guy, so it kind of isn't in my game. I'm pretty sure it's 6-1 and 3-1, but you have to bet $20 if I remember right. Like I said, I've only played it one night, and it was really late. They were about to close it, if I remember right. And in fact, that's all I did. I played the line, and then I played the 2, 3, 11, and 12. And I think I actually hit 2 of them. I think I hit the 3 and the 12 on the roll. Right, absolutely. It's I got to be able to play the don't. Almost all my strategy, almost all my style of play works through the don't. So if I can't play the don't, it really limits the way I play. To me, then it's just light side play, and I don't like that because I like having the most probable number in the game. I like having the 7 as my team. I like having that number. So. And that's just my own personal opinion because it rolls more often than everything else. So it only makes sense to me to have it. And on the craps list table, without hopping or come or something like that, you can't own the 7. Just lay the 12. They won't let you do that here. That's actually what I went there to check on. In fact, very few places will let you do that. The North Carolina place let a couple of the guys do that when I put that strategy about lay the 12 out, and they went there and they kicked their ass a couple nights, and then they quit letting them do it. These guys emailed me all about it and stuff. They said they all went in there, they all laid the 12, and they started hammering numbers, and the casino shut it down after like 2 nights. They said, nope, we're done with that. So again, that's the best strategy in craps. If you have a casino that will let you lay the 12, because it's actually positive EV. If you do the EV on it, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the lay the 12 or lay the 2 is the only positive EV strategy that I've ever seen. And by that I mean if you calculate it out, you lay the 12 for, let's say, 600, and then you go essentially across the rest of the numbers or play the field however you get it, you'll actually win more money than you'll lose in a natural set of rolls, where you're going to get 112 out of 36 rolls. The other 35 rolls are winners. You'll actually win more money than you'll lose. So, I actually showed video on it, did the math and everything. And that's why I think the casino there in North Carolina did that calculation, and they're like, oh yeah, we can't do this because it's a losing thing. We can't, casinos are never going to be behind on they're always going to have a house edge. If you take their house edge away, they're going to do something to change that. And that's exactly what they did. So if you can find a place that'll let you lay the 2 or the 12 on a craps list table, you should do it. And then play all the other numbers, or play the iron cross, whatever, because it's positive EV from there. Because you're only going to roll the 12 1 out of 36 times, so that means you're going to have 35 winners. And yes, the 7 counts because the lay on the lay you as long as you get enough. Yeah, I don't think I just think they thought it was weird and they didn't care, you know. So when those guys showed up with that strategy that I put out there, they showed up and the casino was like, sure, you can lay 600 to win 100. You know, they didn't care because they didn't think about that those guys were also going to play across the other numbers and win that way. So that's hello, Mr. Patel. So that's what they did. And so obviously it could have went 80 rolls without a 12, and those guys won on every single roll, the sevens included. Thank you, buddy. And so the 600 they invested in the 12 didn't matter because they won 70 rolls, and that's what happened. And I have a couple big emails from two different guys about it that were there, that were playing, and they was like, yeah, we crushed them and they stopped it, which I mean totally makes sense. I mean, the casino can't let you play a strategy that's not in their favor. They can't do it. They'll shut the game down. They're not there to lose money. But that's what happened in that situation. So if you ever find a casino that'll let you do it, it's actually a really, really good strategy. Now, obviously, on the flip side of that, if you roll two 12s back to back right away, you're going to have a really hard time making it back up. But as probability goes, if you roll two 12s back to back, most likely you're not going to see one for a while. And so you will make a bunch of that money back. I mean, but overall, if you took 36 roll group out of 36 roll group out of 36 roll group, it's going to consistently be a winner over a loser. By just it's not a huge margin, but it's a margin. So, and obviously casinos will never let you do that, or when you do it and they catch on, they're going to stop it. But the don't is the only way you can guarantee yourself a win, by the way. Did you guys know that? So, for example, if you get a don't through, you literally can just place it and guarantee yourself a win. It's the only way in the casino that you can guarantee a win. I have never seen another game where you can have a situation where you're guaranteed to win. The only way is through the don't. If someone else points out another one to me, I'll be happy to entertain it, but that's the only way. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a $50 don't. And it goes through, let's say it lands on the 5. So now you can place the 5 for 40. And so either you're going to win 10 or you're going to win 6 or whatever, right? You can't lose at that point. Now, that's a terrible way to play because in the long run, the come out losers are going to beat you. But what I'm saying is that, like everything else in the world of craps is the best game to be playing in the casino based upon the percentages of the game and based upon what you could do. I am not going to let you write that, sir. Mr. Enterzone. I will not let you write that on my chat. Please don't do that again. But yeah, so I know some people were talking about the NFL a little bit. Oh, wow. Yeah, please don't make me block you, sir. I'm not going to let you write stuff like that on my channel because it's ignorant and stupid. So you can take that however you want, but this channel is for actual real grown men and women, not for children. Sorry guys, but this guy's writing ignorant stuff that I'm having to not allow to be put in the chat because it's stupid. It's just pure ignorance. It's not even political, so there's that. It's just ignorant. But Yeah, as far as like some of these games this week, are kind of what people would refer to as sketchy games, but equally matched NFL games are actually good because then teasers are usually pretty much good. So if you get a lot of equally matched games, you just do a lot of teasers. A lot of times they'll fall in place for you. So that's one great thing about the teaser is that games like the Jaguars, for example, they're a home 3-point dog. Well, you can tease them up to 9 points, and that's a pretty safe bet. Pretty safe, 9 points there against Miami. So I mean, a lot of the times the close games are actually the ones that are pretty good. Hello, sir. Silent shooter. But some of the other ones, like they did play Cincinnati really well. I mean, essentially they played them as well as Green Bay did, right? I mean, played them to 3 points. That Green Bay game and Cincinnati game was weird. Weird game. I think Green Bay laid an egg and still won a game is what happened. But so some of the other games like the Broncos and the Raiders, don't overthink that one. Denver's at home. Man, Tom Brady and Antonio Brown are on another level right now. Tom Brady's on another level. I mean, the guy is way past NFL standards for age, and he's dominating the league. I get that they got their butts handed to them at the Rams. The Rams are a really good football team. It's not crazy to think that. But, I mean, Tom Brady is throwing 4 touchdowns a game. Hello, Skill. How are you, buddy? Appreciate you stopping by, man. I mean, just he's a monster. It's ridiculous how good he is. And most of it is all just preparation and mentality. I mean, because he's not overly physically talented, but his preparation all the way down to his diet. I mean, I am feeling better, guys. By the way, I still haven't got my negative COVID test. I'm trying to get one, but I feel great. I felt great for days. But with that said, if you have not had COVID, do everything you can to stay away from it. It is terrible. It was for me. It was awful. Absolutely miserable, awful. I do not wish it on anybody. It's absolutely, in my experience, was terrible. Worst thing sickness-wise I've ever been through. And I'd had salmonella one time, and I thought that was really bad, but COVID is a different level. COVID literally affects everything, from your breathing to your body to your brain. It's just so crazy. I hope no one gets it. No one on here gets it. It's terrible. But yeah, I mean, so like the Broncos and the Raiders, don't overthink it. Denver's at home. The Raiders are in a total mess. I will be back there on the week of the 25th, Larry. So just in like a week and a half from now, I'll be back. I'm starting my job back November 1st. So yeah, it's just in a couple days we're moving. But yeah, so it'll be cool to see you again, buddy. But yeah, as far as like games like that, the Raiders and the Broncos, don't overthink it, guys. That locker room in the Raiders is going to be a mess. I didn't want to talk about John Gruden stuff, but I will just a little bit because of this. We're talking about the game. He was talking about racist stuff, and most of his team is black. So there's some problems in there. Obviously there's going to be people that are still in his corner, and there's going to be people that probably hate him now. So, and there's probably already been trade requests put in and stuff. That team is going to be really messed up for a couple weeks. And then they promoted their special teams coordinator. It's just more Raiders dysfunction, in my opinion. In fact, I'd be surprised if they win many more games this year. It's just too much when something like this happens. It's not like a coach getting fired in the middle of the season. This dude fired himself. He's the special teams coach. I can't remember his name. He's been in coaching for a very long time, but he's been in coaching a long time. He's still just a special teams coach. I would say he's not the best coach ever. And it's not like the Raiders special teams was blowing anything up. You know, it's not like they're the Patriots or, you know, someone like that. So, I would be very leery of anything to do with the Raiders for a while. And if you're going to bet that Broncos game, probably the best play is just the money line. Don't worry about the spread. Just play the money line. Denver's at home. They're at least equal, probably in talent. But Denver's at home, has a better defense. I wouldn't read too much into the Denver-Pittsburgh game. Teddy Bridgewater's coming off a concussion. They probably should have started Locke instead. But Denver's defense kind of let them down in that game. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Denver's not a good football team really overall. The Raiders are not really a good football team overall. They kind of benefited from teams they played. They're pretty equal in Denver. I wouldn't overthink it. Just like in the Seattle game with Pittsburgh. Geno Smith is going to Pittsburgh. Don't overthink it. Just take Pittsburgh. Just take them on the money line if you're worried about the points. Geno Smith's not going to go to Pittsburgh and win a football game. Yeah, I like Taysom Hill. I do both. Angelo, I do both. Sometimes I don't care necessarily about the payout. I just want the wins, you know. So if I think 4 teams are guaranteed winners, I don't mind betting the money lines. It's guaranteed wins in my mind, right? So obviously nothing is guaranteed, but like, for example, I don't think Tennessee will beat the Bills. So I would have no problem playing their money line at all. No matter what I played it for, I'm going to win money. And so sometimes it's just about the win and not necessarily about the payout. I feel like if you're worried about the payouts more than the wins themselves, then you should be playing 2-team parlays. Because then you can essentially get a positive payout over 2-1 and still only have to play 2 games. I don't worry about the payouts nearly. I mean, it's a very small percentage of what I consider. I consider the probability of win, mostly. That's the huge majority. What is the most probable winning outcome for me? And that's what I look at when I bet. I very rarely really care about the payout. Because the truth is if you go 3 wins and I go 9 wins, your 3 wins, yeah, they may be 1-1, and my 9 wins may be 0.5-1. But you're going to win 3, and I'm going to win 4.5. You see what I'm saying? So I just care about the wins. Now, when I play props, I'm directly looking for value in the payout. I very rarely play props that are not plus money. The only props I ever really play that are not plus money are interception props because they are likely to succeed, right? So the other ones, like when I'm looking at touchdown props or something, I really won't play them if they're not plus money because them are the bets that I look to be plus money. So like Tom Brady, I got Tom Brady at plus 125 to throw over 2.5 touchdowns this week. I thought that was a really good. You're getting 25% on your money. He's averaging like 4 touchdowns a game. It seemed like a very safe play to me. And so that's the way I look at the props. Mm-hmm. Generally props, I'm always looking for the plus money. Pretty much every other bet, I'm just looking for the most probable outcome that creates a winner for me. So if that's the Buffalo money line, that's the Buffalo money line, you know. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Silent Shooter. Now, I do like moneyline parlays, though. And the reason I like moneyline parlays is because if you have two what you feel are guaranteed winners, generally when you pair them together, it'll put you into the plus. Now, if they're really big money lines, it might not, but it's going to knock it way down. It's going to knock it way down and make it far more valuable. And if you're going to bet the bets anyway, if you're going to bet the two bets anyway, you might as well bet them separately and then parlay them. Because if you think they're that sure of a win, then might as well put them together too. And so I do that a lot. I do a lot of money line parlays. I really like that Brady bet myself. I've actually kind of rode that for a little while, here and there when I see it good odds on it. Another one is I've been catching Herberts when I think they're really good chance, and also Mahomes. Mahomes is almost gold on it. They're so bad on defense. He's going to have to score 40 points a game to win football games. The Chiefs are so bad on defense. Like, I don't understand how they're as bad as they are. It just doesn't even make sense. There is just so many dysfunctional problems on their defense. I mean, I get that they kind of got unlucky in a couple games, and they should have probably won, but those games they were so close because the defense is so bad. Think about the Baltimore game. The Baltimore Ravens, yeah, Mahomes' rushing props have been good. The Baltimore Ravens in that game threw a pick six to start it and then another interception right away and ended up winning that football game. Last year, that would have never happened to the Chiefs. If you threw a pick six against them, you lost. I'll say one thing about the Chiefs that's a little unusual is the NFL has caught up to what they do, and so they've just been playing these deep coverages, right? They've been playing four guys deep, cloud-type coverages, and the Chiefs really haven't adjusted to it. So the Chiefs' big plays aren't there. The big touchdowns aren't there. And so now the Chiefs have had to go down the field methodically. And outside of Travis Kelce, their team really isn't built for that. Their team is built for quick scores. And so until they make that adjustment and figure out how to be a better screen team or something, teams are just going to back up and make them go 10 and 12 play drives to score touchdowns. And that's what's been getting them. Teams have just been backing up. They've just been backing up, saying, okay, you're not going to throw it over our head. So just we're going to tackle you and tackle you and tackle you. And eventually a penalty happens or something, and the drive stalls and they're not scoring touchdowns. And that happens. NFL catches up to people. They catch up to teams. It happens every year. Good teams get caught up. That's exactly right. The Bucs figured it out last year, and now every team is following the same pattern, and the Chiefs are struggling. I mean, the Chiefs are still a talented team, really talented. Still probably have the best player in the NFL. But the teams have figured them out, and that's what's exactly happened, and the defense is terrible. Absolutely terrible. They're going to have to invest some money in their defense in the offseason, which is probably going to cost them Tyreek Hill, but I'd rather be able to hold people to less than 40 points a game than have Tyreek Hill. And that's probably what's going to happen. I did do a video on laying the 12. I did a couple of them, actually. They're probably about a year old, maybe 8 months old. So you'd have to go into my video queue and find them. I'm pretty sure it says lay the 12 on a bunch of them. And some of them are live. So Mr. Miller, some of them are live. So you might have to go to my live videos as well to find them. But yeah, I did multiple videos on it. Yes, the Cowboys are fantastic. The Cowboys are absolutely a serious contender for the Super Bowl. You remember week 1, they took the Bucs to the absolute limit, had them. They were winning with 1 minute to go, and obviously Tom Brady'd and got the win. But yeah, the Cowboys are absolutely one of the best teams in the NFL. Their defense gives up a lot of yards, but they turn the other team over. And so they're like +7 in turnover margin. And when they turn the other team over, the offense scores touchdowns. And that's a big deal. When you get turnovers and kick field goals, it doesn't matter all that much. But if you get turnovers and you turn them into touchdowns, and you do that repeatedly, like the Cowboys are doing, you beat people by a lot of points. And you can keep beating people by a lot of points because your defense knows that you're going to score touchdowns, so they take risks. They get turnovers. And on top of that, the Cowboys are a 2-headed rushing attack, a 3-headed passing attack, plus 2 tight ends. And Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. I mean, literally, what the Cowboys got going, by the end of the year, they could be the #1 team in the NFL. They could, just because they are so prolific on offense. And they're just, I mean, they get the NFC East, so they're going to be 6 wins there. They're just really good. And if that Dan Quinn defense, if it keeps getting better and better and better, and this Diggs kid keeps stealing the ball from other teams, they're going to dominate a lot of teams. There's only a few teams in the NFC that can compete with them. The Rams, the Bucks, maybe on a good day Green Bay. I even doubt that. So Arizona maybe, just because Arizona's so dynamic. But to beat the Cowboys, you got to score 30+ points. If you're not going to put 30+ points on the board, they're going to beat you. So the Cowboys are nasty. They are really good. So they stay healthy. They're as good of a contender in the NFC as anybody. I still think if everybody's got to go to Tampa Bay, they're going to make the Super Bowl, because I just don't think you're going to go to Tampa Bay and beat Tom Brady. Yes, I think they covered the 4 easily against New England. New England has a problem that they don't really score points. And Mac Jones, rookie against that really opportunistic Dallas defense, I can see a couple picks, and Dallas is going to score touchdowns. The only thing that could derail this a little bit is if there's weather, because sometimes New England weather can be tricky. You saw it in the Bucs game. The weather really derailed the scoring in the game. If there's some weather, it could get tricky, but if there's not weather, Dallas will run away with it. Dallas will probably win by 3 scores. The Patriots just aren't built to score points, and Dallas is. So, Dallas is a better football team than them. It's not even close. The Patriots have a pretty good defense, and pretty good defense, but Dallas has played the Bucs. Dallas has played the Chargers, and now the Chargers game was an anomaly. It was really weird. Really, the defense kind of saved the offense in that game by picking those balls off in the end zone. So, but again, team game. Defense showed up for that one, So Dallas has played some good football teams, and they've dominated them. So, and in the Bucs, they could have easily won that one. So, I mean, they're going to dominate New England. It's one of the best plays this week. It's actually not even all that close. It's one of the better plays. It was one of the better plays last week too, but for whatever reason I didn't add it into the group, them playing the Giants. The Giants are a very fake team. They have a lot of statistics and very few actual successes. And it only got worse this last week against Dallas when everyone got hurt. The Giants are in a lot of trouble. Even if those players all play, they're going to be banged up and they're going to be hurt. And their receiving corps is basically decimated. Saquon Barkley can't stay healthy. Now Daniel Jones got hurt. He was the one bright spot on the team. Now he's going to be hurt. Even if he comes back, he's still hurt. And then the O-line has been hurt since week 1. So, I mean, the good things the Giants have going for them are so heavily outweighed by their injuries. They're barely an NFL team right now. Just their injuries. They have so many practice squad players in their starting rosters. It's terrible. It's just a bad situation. They would almost be better off just tanking and saving those quality players they do have and letting them heal all year long and just kind of tanking. And I know that sounds crappy, but they would be probably better off doing that because they're not going to get anywhere by playing games and trying to win them because they're never going to catch the Cowboys, obviously. They're not going to make no wild cards. They're just a beat up bad. If all their players are healthy, if the Giants players are all healthy, they're actually a really good football team, like from a talent standpoint. I mean, they have 3 legit receivers, a legit tight end. The quarterback's getting better. The running back, you have Saquon Barkley. The defense is actually pretty good. So if they're all healthy, they're actually a good football team, like on paper. But the problem is they're never all healthy, and they're always beat up there. So we'll see. Maybe next year they get all healthy and they're a contender for the East. Maybe, I doubt it, but maybe. I haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen him stay healthy yet. Saquon Barkley got his legs ran out from him in Penn State. Rams, I like the Rams. They're a 10-point favorite, right? 10 point, maybe 10.5. I even like it. I mean, I'm not afraid of that spread. The Rams have had extra time. That's not going to be that close. It's going to be. It's a bad matchup. But if I would, like on most of the game where I played the Rams, I teased them. So I teased the Rams spread down because I prefer to win as opposed to payout. So I make myself the best chance to win when I make bets. So that's the way I do it. I give myself the most probable chance to win the bet first. Then I worry about the payout after that. So that's why I do a lot of teasers. Guys, teasers are just fine. Just pair the teams that match what you should be doing on the teaser. I mean, they're going to win way over 70% of the time. So, I mean, just be smart about it. Don't tease a -3 to a +3. Doesn't make any sense. Tease the +3 to +9. You know, don't do silly things with it. You know, don't tease the +7 to +13. If you think the favorite's going to win, tease the 7 down to 1. I mean, it's simple. Teasers are very simple. People overthink them all the time. Do the most logical thing, and the teaser will work for you. And another thing, don't tease 6 games together. Tease 2. Put 2 games together. If you have 6 games you like, tease them 2, 2, 2, and then flip them around and do 2, 2, 2 again. That way, when you have 1 or 2 that lose, you don't lose everything. You still win because all the other ones won. So when you're doing it, don't put 6 teams together. Don't put 5. Put 2 teams together. When you make your teasers, when you make your parlays, don't put more than 2 teams in a parlay because you're just making it so hard to win it that the few times you do win it, it looks great, but you've lost so many other ones, it doesn't matter. You really should, outside of the 10-point teasers where you have to do 3 teams, you really should never do more than 2. It doesn't make any sense. From a gambling standpoint, from a probability of win standpoint, it doesn't make any sense to tease more than 2. Even though you get better payouts, it makes it harder, cumulatively harder each time you add a game in. You have to have another set of circumstances fall your way. You should never have more than 2 sets of circumstances have to fall your way. That's why I go by the 85-15-1 rule. All right, 85% of my bets are all single bets, where it takes 1 outcome to satisfy the bet in my favor. Yeah, Fields has to be hurt. He got beat up in that game pretty good. So I go 85-15-1. And what that means is 85% of my bets are all single bets, no matter what. 85% of them, that way 1 outcome wins the bet for me. That could be a prop, it could be a spread, it could be an over and under, it could be a first half, it could be a quarter. It could be any of them. The second group of my bets is the parlays, which is teasers or parlays. I never do more than 2 games. Unless it's a 10-point teaser, I'll do the 3 games, obviously. And then there's the 1%. These are my home run plays. These are my miracle plays. And I'll do something like a 9-game money line parlay. All right? But it's a very small percentage of my money, 1%. And I might, okay, I like these 9 teams to win. If it wins, sure, I make, out of $25, I might make $700. But it's one play a week. I don't do them very often. I mean, 1 a week is a fun bet. My one fun bet. No, I didn't ever talk about Chargers money line. Yeah, the Chargers money line's nice. It's 140, right? Plus 140. They're the better team. I get there on the road. Okay, so I'm going to explain something about money line versus spread, my opinion on it. Okay, so if you're looking at a positive money line, not a negative money line, a positive money line, which means that you can either take the money line or you can take the points, right? So I look at it, each point being worth plus 10. So if the Chargers are getting 3 points and the money line is plus 140, it's better to take the money line than it is to take the points, because you're going to get those points at minus 110, right? Who did I vote for? Square pair, what are you talking about? So it's better to get the points if the money line isn't as good. But if you have plus 140, that means you have 4 points worth of pluses, in my opinion. Each plus 10 is worth 1 point. So in that Chargers game, in my opinion, it's better to just play the money line and instead of the points. Now, if you're going to tease it, obviously, you tease the 9 points with the Chargers and pair it with something else good. But yeah, I like that money line. It's my favorite money line of the week, probably. I also like the Jaguars money line, which sounds crazy, but the Jaguars are at home versus Miami, a very winnable game for them. I actually think the Jaguars will have the best quarterback on the field. I actually like the Jaguars this week. Now, I also like the Jaguars plus 3 or 3.5. I like them plus 9 on a teaser. Just those kind of games I like betting on a lot of times because they're not going to get a lot of movement, so you're not going to see fluctuations in the spreads. And generally, they're handicapped terribly because they are not going to get a lot of play. So that's the way, like, I like the Jaguars this week. I think it's a great play. I think it's a fantastic teaser play. I mean, can Miami beat anybody by 10? I doubt it. I highly doubt they can beat anybody by 10. So that's what they would have to do to cover a 9 or a 9.5. I just don't see it. How can they beat? I mean, how is Miami laying points on the road? Like, how is that even a thing? That was one of the, it's just like a crazy spread to me. Like, I get that probably on paper Miami's a better football team. Chiefs minus 6.5. Ugh. God, do you ever want to lay points with the Chiefs anymore? I mean, they covered, right? Who's my pick for the World Series? Man, I don't even really know. Dodgers are the most talented, right? I don't know. I would like to see the Dodgers and the Astros play. I don't even know who won. Who's winning those series? I haven't even watched a single game. But I would like to see the Dodgers and Astros, I guess, because of all the stealing stuff. I don't like laying points with the Chiefs right now. I mean, I know they covered against Philadelphia, but they probably shouldn't have. Right. The over seems reasonable. Uh, I just, man, ugh, doing anything with the Chiefs defense right now. So when you're laying points, you have to rely on the defense to do something, right? Green Bay or the Jags, man, I like Green Bay because you can trust Aaron Rodgers more. Uh, he kind of owns Chicago. Yeah, I'll not get to that Washington and Kansas City game. Oh, such a terrible, just terrible. I like Washington. I like Heineke. I think he's just a gamer. Yeah, God, the Chiefs are bad, right? They're just bad on defense. How many times can Mahomes score 45 points? I mean, it's just unreasonable to think he can just keep doing that. And the Chiefs are laying a touchdown. I mean, my computer model says take Washington. That's hilarious. Henslow. I mean, just how many times can I don't believe it. I can't bring myself to lay points with the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs' money line seems reasonable to me. But I mean, I like Washington. Washington played Buffalo pretty well. I mean, as well as they could have. I mean, they got dominated in the game, but I mean, they scored on them. I think they scored more than the Chiefs did. So, I mean, it's not like Washington's a serviceable football team. I mean, they're not a good football team yet. It's not like they're like untalented or something, though. They're a pretty good football team, I guess. Middle of the pack. I mean, they're as good as the Chiefs right now for sure. So, I mean, 7 points just seems unreasonable. If I was going to do it, I would probably tease the Chiefs down to just win, or not even bet it. Maybe bet the over. Seems like an over. I know it's like 55 or something, but haven't all the Chiefs games done that? They've went over something like that. I mean, they've all been crazy, right? But as far as the Green Bay Chicago, I just trust Aaron Rodgers to beat Chicago. I mean, how many times have we seen Chicago just lose to him? I mean, and Fields, the Raiders were dysfunctional last week. I don't really think the Bears beat them. The Raiders kind of just beat themselves. And I don't see Aaron Rodgers doing that. I would be surprised if that's closer than a 13 or 14 point game by the end. I get that the Bears are pretty salty on defense. I mean, it's a solid defense, and they can run the football. But are they going to score 30 points, which is probably what Aaron Rodgers is going to do? I know against Cincinnati they kind of laid an egg, but Aaron Rodgers, they're probably going to get close to 30. Are the Bears going to get close to that? I just have my doubts. Are they going to even get to 20? Seems not likely. The computer model says take the Green Bay too. So I mean, I trust my computer model without flinching. So now sometimes obviously you have to make adjustments, but like with Seattle, obviously the computer model says something, but without Russell Wilson, obviously it's not right. So I made that adjustment, but yeah, I wouldn't bet against Aaron Rodgers in this game. Really, no matter. Even if you tease it up, I think it's 4, right? Spread's 4. Even if you tease it up to Chicago plus 10, doesn't seem like you're getting good value to me. It doesn't seem like, yeah, that's for sure. They're going to stay within 10. Whereas like teasing the Jaguars up to 9 or 9.5 seemed like a pretty guaranteed bet. I'd either play the Packers money line or I would just lay the 4 and not even worry about it. I mean, I have already laid the 4, not even worried about it. So I've already got that bet in. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. One thing is too is Green Bay doesn't tend to have 2 down offensive games in a row. It's not real common for them. So against the Bengals, had a down offensive game. It was just such a weird game. It was a weird game. All the missed field goals and just the bad offense. It just wasn't a very good game. Somehow Green Bay won it. But my model said that was only a 3-point game. My model actually said that the Bengals were only about 3 points different than the Packers, and it turned out that way. So there you go. So another one I like Houston plus 10. I think if you tease Houston to 16, that's a nice play. But yeah, guys, Kansas City, it's so hard to lay points with Kansas City. I did it the other week against Philadelphia, and I laid those points, and it turned out, and it worked. Hey, PSO. Thank you, buddy. But in that Philadelphia game, it probably shouldn't have. There were some pretty bad calls and some, weird stuff happened in that game that went in the Chiefs' favor, and probably shouldn't have. Another one that is kind of odd is, betting Detroit this year. Detroit's a tricky bet. When they're getting big points, it's worth betting them. But when it's close, tight spreads, I don't know. But if they're getting big points because they're fighting, they're scrapping the whole way. So, and they can run the football a little bit, so that's solid. But Detroit's a tricky one, real tricky. Guys, there's a few games I love this week, and I'm not going to put that stuff out there because I do have people that pay for my opinions. And I've talked about some stuff and everything on here, but what my people get is much different than what I talk about out here. They get my full computer model workup, my full breakdowns of every game, and they get my favorite plays, what I actually have money on. So they get a lot more than I talk about. I don't know how interesting that game is. I don't think they're close in talent. I think the Patriots are significantly less talented than the Cowboys. Pretty much all the bettors are on the Cowboys. The better quarterback. Probably not better tight ends. They have good tight ends in New England. Better offensive line at the Cowboys. Better running backs. Better receivers. On the defensive side of the ball, sure, the Patriots are a really good defense, but they're a cumulatively good defense as a group. They haven't really faced what they're about to face with Dallas. They did with Tampa Bay, but it was raining and sloppy and a big emotional thing there. Oh yeah, you can lay those points. It's really, the point spread is too low. That point spread should be 7.5. It's too low. Cowboys are an easy play, I think. And if you're worried, play the Cowboys on the money line with the Bills. There you go. Bills aren't going to lose a football game for a while, guys. The Bills will not lose a football game. Mark my words. The Bills will not lose a football game. They don't even have a chance to lose a football game until they play the Bucs. So you can stack money lines on the Bills from here till the Bucs. So you start with $50. Next week, whatever you've won, put it right back on them. Next week, whatever you won, put it right back on them. All the way up to the Bucs game. Because the Bills have the easiest schedule. There is no one in their way. They have, I think, a New Orleans game in there, but that's not the same. They're not even close. The Bills are so much better than everyone else right now, just as a total, as a group, that the teams they get to play in a row, it's not fair. You're going to get terrible money lines, but your value is that you're stacking that money on top of each other all the way to the Bucs game. Now at the Bucs game, make a decision. Maybe cash that out, because it's like 7 games away or something like that. You're going to get that many in a row that are all wins and on the money line, so you don't worry about no spreads. You just pile up. You start with 50. If it's 7 games, you're looking at turning 50 into 600 by just playing the best team in the NFL to beat the other teams. I mean, it's a very simple. I told you guys about that week 1 with Denver, that their first 3 weeks, they were the better team. They were going to win all those games. They did. So if you stack the money lines on them, you should have made some pretty good money. There's another situation here with the Bills. It's ridiculous how much different. I'm going to look up their schedule really quick just to show you guys understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you the games all the way up to the Bucks game. Okay, so they have Titans, Dolphins, Jaguars, Jets, Colts, Saints, Patriots, and then the Bucks. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games before the Buccaneers. All wins. Sure, the Colts could be salty. They got to go to Buffalo. The Bills do have to go to the Saints. The Bills are a much better football team than the Saints. All right? If any of those are trip-ups, it's the Saints game. Just because they have to go to New Orleans. That's the only possible trip-up. So if you don't want to do that, just go the 5 until the Saints game. All right? But, guys, Titans, Dolphins, Jaguars, Jets, Colts, Saints, Patriots, all in a row. The Bills are 3 times better than all those teams. Maybe not 3 times better than the Saints in New Orleans, but they're all better. Keegan, I will be November 1st, buddy. November 1st. How are you, sir? Keegan's my friend from my last job that I'm going back to. Good kid. But the one trip up for the Bucks is that they have the Bucks and then they have the Panthers back to back. Maybe they lose one of those games. But other than that, the Bills probably won't lose another football game unless they choose to, or unless they lose to the Bucks. They're going to be favored in every game except for the Bucks game because it's in Tampa Bay. Every other game, they're going to be favored. Now, at the end of the year, they play the Jets. They may not need the win, and since they can't go undefeated. No, I don't. I'm going to OCI. I don't think I'm going to the Powerhouse, buddy. Maybe I'm wrong though. You might know more than me. I haven't heard that though. But so there's actually another one with the Buccaneers. So I'm gonna read off the Buccaneers schedule. You could do the same thing with them. And let me read it off really quick. Thank you, buddy. So here's the Buccaneers schedule. They got the Eagles, the Bears, the Saints, Washington, Giants, Colts, Falcons, and then the Bills. So you could literally do the same thing with them all the way to the Bills game. They're going to be favored in every game. The one trip up again could be the Saints. Every other game, they're much better. Yeah, about that. We do need to get back to that. You're absolutely right, Enslow. That's really their thing. I'm not a fantasy football guy. I was just kind of guiding it. But I would love to do that with them again. I mean, that would be fine with me. I mean, I'll go there, Keegan. You know me. I don't care where I work. I've never worked over there, but I have a boiler license from past life stuff. I have to get it renewed. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind working there at all. Why would I? It's Powerhouse. Good job. But yeah, so wherever they put me, I'm fine. It didn't matter to me. I'm just glad they took me back without any questions. They just said, yeah, come on home. So that was really cool of them. I'm talking about the company I work for in Arkansas called Future Fuel. They've actually been really great to me. So they hired me essentially straight out of prison. I mean, yeah, I'd only been out of prison a couple months, and they gave me a chance. So I'll never say a bad word about them. They're really good company to work for. But yeah, Angelo, we will try to get back to that. Good night, buddy. I know some people are really interested in that. I'm not a fantasy football guy, but the Square Pair guys are, and they played every week. They put DraftKings lineups in every week. They really do their research on they're good at it. I'm just not. I don't even try it. I do what I do. I tell people how to win football games against the spread. I don't really know the fantasy stuff. So, but yeah, no, that sounds cool to me, Keegan. But other than that, guys, you guys have anything else you want to talk about? We talk about craps, talk about poker. We talk about, as long as it's not politics. I just don't like politics. So we talk about COVID. I don't know how many of you guys have had COVID, but if you have, I'm so sorry. It's so terrible. If you have not had it, please stay away from it. If you know someone that has it or something, just stay away, because God, it's terrible. But again, like I said, for all my football guys, that I got most everything done already on the workups. I wanted to wait for some more injury news before I put anything out. That way I don't have to tell everyone, hey, change this. Yeah, that's fantastic, Enslow. Yeah, the hospital and passing away. I mean, guys, let me tell you this. Dying is a serious thing with COVID. You can die with it. I know people say it's this or that or whatever. But you can die from COVID. Be assured of that. I'm a pretty healthy guy. I don't smoke. I barely drink. And I was worried about it. I was honestly worried about it. So, guys, if you haven't had it, don't deny it. Don't do that stuff. It's real. It's a serious thing. Try to stay away from it. Why is Pitt only 4 with Wilson out? Well, because Pittsburgh's only had one effective game this year, and that was against Denver last week. The rest of their games were very ineffective. I know we will, buddy. I know we will. We'll definitely come down to Shreveport. We haven't done that yet, so we definitely need to do that. But ATS, Pitt's only had one real game that they played very well, and that was that Denver game last week. The rest of the games they haven't played very well. So I'm sure Vegas isn't quick to just give them huge benefit of the doubt. But it's Geno Smith, guys. What's Geno Smith known for? Geno Smith's known for getting his jaw broke by a 17th string linebacker that he owed money. I mean, tell me one time where Geno Smith was like, hey, a real quarterback. The best I've ever seen him look was in the Rams game last week when he came in. That's the best I've ever seen him look. I don't trust Geno Smith for nothing. I'll take TJ Watt against that Seattle offensive line all day long. I would be surprised if Geno Smith doesn't have 2 picks and 2 fumbles. I mean, he's got to travel across the country to Pittsburgh, play that defense. It looked like maybe Pittsburgh was getting a little more rhythm on offense. I mean, it did beat a good defense in Denver. I mean, there were some big broken plays in that game, but I mean, they ran the ball on Denver too really well. So I do know, I know that the injured player theory. Thank you, Melanie. The injured player theory comes in here where a quarterback goes down, the backup comes in the next game, lights it up, everyone plays up for him. But I don't trust it here. I think this is one of the times it'll fail. I'm not backing Geno Smith with my money. And I know he looked better against the Rams, but the Rams kind of already had that game in hand. And they were kind of in a cloud type coverage. He was throwing some underneath balls. Now the one drive where he went right down the field on him and threw the ball to Metcalf for a touchdown, that drive looked bad. That's the best drive I've ever seen out of Geno Smith. Maybe he has better weapons there. I don't know, but for a whole game, I just don't trust Geno Smith to make a lot of really good decisions against a pretty good defense. What spread? I think Dallas should be a 7+ point favorite, and they're not. So I think Dallas is an easy pick. The model has them at like 7-point favorite. So, and I agree. I think it should be at least that. The Patriots just can't score well enough, and I don't think they're going to lock. Oh, you have 3.5. That's good. Nice. Yeah, what I've seen is mostly 4s. If you got 3.5, that's even better. But yeah, another thing COVID did is my lips are messed up. They're just all messed up. It's just terrible. I hate COVID. Oh, I'm sure it's fluctuated all over the place, yeah. That's probably going to be a lot of money in that game. Change hands in that game. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, big money comes in and thinks they know something and they put money on it. Okay, thank you for stopping in, Melanie. Thank you so much. Guys, I will try to do stuff like this more often again and talk to you guys directly like this. I like this stuff. No, I don't. Guys, I'll explain why I don't do a lot of college stuff, okay? So, in the NFL, from the best team to the worst team, year in and year out is about 21 points, right? You never really see a spread higher than that. Every now and then you'll see a 21 or a 22-point spread in the NFL. It's just the nature of them all being pros. So you know that your variance is within this spot, all right, over and over again. Now, obviously, there's outliers where crazy stuff happens, but generally most spreads in the NFL are 2.5, 3, 3.5, up to 9.5. Not many go over that, right? So it's a very tight variance. In college football, from the best team to the worst team is about 65 points. So inside a conference, you can have a 40-point difference in a single conference, a variance of 40 points. So in my opinion, college football, the variance is so wide that it's not consistent enough to me for the way I like to bet. I want it to be very tight, very consistent. I use a lot of teasers to manipulate the winning in my favor with the teasers, because that's why I like pro. Yes, the mandatory injury report's very nice, yes. Where you actually get to know who's in and out. Yeah, that's a really wonderful thing. But just the overall variance in college football is so wide, I don't like to bet on it. So, for example, here's a good example, okay? Alabama played Mercer. I think the spread was 49. All right? Alabama could have covered it if they would have wanted. They could have covered it if they chose to. But they didn't. But I bet you if you looked at like my computer model and you plugged in those teams, that it would have been that different, right? You could have easily found, okay, hey, there's 49 points difference here. But they didn't cover it. And it's the variance of the game from top to bottom. So when I do bet on college, yes, I totally agree. The Cowboys schedule is very nice. So when I do bet on college, I generally bet on two conferences. I bet on the Big Ten, and I bet on the SEC, because they're the tightest conferences. The good teams are usually always good. The bad teams are usually always bad. And you can pretty much bet it that way. So like your Iowas, your Ohio States, Penn States, Michigan States, Michigans, they're always pretty good. Your other teams, your Indianas, Illinois, Maryland's, those Rutgers and stuff, they're always pretty bad. Same thing in the SEC. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, usually pretty good. Everyone else, not so good. Kentucky's kind of made their way up now. Arkansas looks a little better. Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin looks okay. They just score a lot of points. But so it's easier. They're more like the NFL. The variance is tighter. And that's the ones when I do bet them, that's what I usually bet. Very rarely do I stray away from that. Very rarely do I even bet college, because it's just so different. We just saw Alabama lose to an inferior team, probably just based on that it was in Texas A&M more than anything. So they got up for Alabama. Alabama didn't get up for them, and Texas A&M was just talented enough to hang around in the game and win it at the end. I mean, should they have won the game? Absolutely not. They're not more talented than Alabama. Not even close. And if you played that game 100 times, Alabama wins 99 of them. And probably wins it by 20 or more points 99 times. But in that game, in that situation, in that crazy environment, variance kicked in. They did something weird. And that's what I don't like about it. In the NFL, it's far more tight. It's far more consistent. That's why I like the NFL, because you can use the teaser in the NFL to really manipulate your wins and losses. And so that's what I do. For the huge majority of what I do, is that's how I make most of my money, is I manipulate the wins and losses using the teasers. And then I just try to handicap good ATS plays. And I only play my favorite ones. I don't like go out on limbs and you see it. You see it every year in the NFL. Teams play tight. They play very close to each other. Even teams that are less than the other team, a lot of times they play very close because they're all pros, right? So the separation isn't that big. The separation between Alabama and Mercer is ridiculous. I mean, we've seen it in all kinds of bowl games, right? You've seen Hawaii come in 20 years ago or whatever it was. They were blowing everyone out by 30 and 40 points in their little conference. They showed up and played a mediocre Georgia team and got dominated by Georgia, right? Because the talent wasn't the same. It happens all the time in college. That doesn't really happen in the pros. And that's my take on it, and that's why I bet pro and I don't bet college. It's all about the variance. In my opinion, it's kind of like in the game of craps, college is like betting the horn all the time. And NFL is like betting the 6 and 8 all the time. Far less variance. Sure, you're going to get craziness in the horn, but I'd much rather just bet the 6 and 8 all the time. Yeah, I mean, the Tide lost that game. Probably shouldn't have. But that's what happens. In college, you get in a hostile environment, and a couple things go wrong. Next thing you know, that other team has momentum, and boom, you lose. It doesn't happen nearly as much in the pros. And home field advantage is real in college. In the pros, it's not as real as people think. There's a few places that it matters more than others, or situational. West Coast to East Coast, home field advantage will matter on the East Coast. But for the most part, if you look at home field advantage over 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, it's pretty much 50-50. Now there's a few of them that are different. Obviously, Green Bay, Seattle, New Orleans, Kansas City, New England, they're all going to be there. Them ones are a little better, partially based on that they've had really good teams for a while, and then partially based on that it's a weather situation in some of those places. Uh, but the huge majority of the time in the NFL, home field advantage is very minimal. And you can look at the numbers on it. There's a lot of studies been done on it. It's not nearly as... Yeah, it is hard to bet on kids. Yeah, you're right. It's not the same thing as betting on Tom Brady. So a lot of times NFL bettors just make it too hard on themselves. Sometimes it's just simple. Sometimes it's just you're betting on Tom Brady in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl. Don't overthink it. Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl. Bet on Tom Brady. Sometimes it's just that easy. He's only lost 3 out of 10. So 70% is pretty good. So if he gets to the Super Bowl, I don't got to talk about it. That's where my money will be. If Tom Brady gets the Super Bowl, my money will be on Tom Brady. It's that simple. I don't got to know who's there. I got to know who they're playing. Barring there being the whole Tampa Bay team being hurt, if it's the Bills playing them, I'm still betting on Tom Brady. In fact, if it's the Bills playing them, I'm even more interested in betting on Tom Brady because Tom Brady's got an ego, and he'll look at it like, hold on, if I beat Josh Allen, I'll have beat Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. All these up-and-coming stars that are trying to take my throne, I'll have beat them all. And that's the way he'll look at it, and that'll be his motivation. He's just the man. There's no denying it. He's the best quarterback ever. He has 7 titles, 10 tries. You are absolutely right, Mr. Larry. What's crazy about, and I know you probably remember this, but the Super Bowl is a 2-week-long thing, right? So the first week, I was all over the Bucs. I thought the Bucs plus 3.5 was the only way to play it. By the time I did research by the time it got to the second week, I was on the Chiefs. I totally talked myself out of the Bucs and got on the Chiefs, and I just couldn't bring myself to think that Mahomes would lose the game because I felt like that they were going to outscore the Bucs. Well, what happened in the game? 2 things. 2 things happened in the football game. First thing that happened is Tom Brady doesn't lose Super Bowls. The second thing that happened is the Bucs were ready for him the second time. They had a very good plan, and they executed that plan. Well, there you go. If you're a Lions fan, you're a tough dude. But again, like my first initial reaction was, there's no way, 3.5, too many points, Super Bowl, Tom Brady, it's all Bucs. And the guys that watch them shows that I did, because I did 10 of them probably, 10 shows breaking down the whole thing. It was a big deal. I did a lot of it. Yeah, you're right. But I was all over the Bucs. I was like, there's no way, you have to take these points. It's all what makes all the sense. And then I eventually worked my way over to the wrong side. And so I won't be doing that this year. We're not doing that. If Brady's there, like I said, if Brady's there, you already know my answer. If he's there, I'm on Brady. I don't care who they're playing. It doesn't matter to me. If he's there, that's who my money's on. If he's not there now, it's a whole different world. Because if he's not there, who is it? Cowboys, the Rams, maybe. One of those 2 teams seems most likely, maybe Arizona. None of those guys have been to a Super Bowl. None of those teams have been to Super Bowls. So, if it's on the AFC side, who do you got coming out of the AFC? Right now, it looks like a 2-team race, probably, right? Chargers, Bills, maybe Browns. They're pretty solid, I guess. The Chiefs could figure something out, maybe, and go on a run. I guess they're still got Patrick Mahomes. I guess that could still happen. Seems unlikely, but it could. But I mean, I don't really think the AFC. I don't think Baltimore. I think Baltimore's the luckiest team in the league so far. They could easily be 0-5. Uh, I don't really think anyone else is going to like rise up and make a run in the AFC. So it's pretty much down to Bills and Chargers for me, with maybe the outlier of the Browns, just because they can run the football, and in the playoffs that might matter. Uh, but I mean, the NFC, the NFC's tricky. There's some really good teams in the NFC. So in the AFC, I think it's really a two-team race already, and just from what we've seen, I don't know that any of those teams are more talented than the Bills. So as long as the Bills stay healthy, they're probably going to be the number one. And if everyone has to go to Buffalo in December and January, good luck. Good luck beating them. So, but I really think if those teams end up having to go to Buffalo for the playoffs, I don't think any of them can beat them there. Especially probably not the Chargers. If the Browns would probably have the best chance, but I just have my doubts. And it looks like they're going to be the one spot, because I think they only have one potential loss left on their schedule. So they're probably going to be the one. It's probably going to put them in the Super Bowl. Home field advantage the whole way up there in the middle of Bills Mafia, the snow, and I just have my doubts that anyone will be able to go beat them there. On the other side, in the NFC, I mean, Dallas could easily run the table from here. Yeah, Baker Mayfield's tricky to like. I think the Browns need to get rid of Odell. I think Odell's a problem for them. They need to trade him off, get him out of there. They already have a pretty solid receiving core. They don't need him. But I really think the Bucs' schedule lines up for them to win a lot more games. And since they already got a win over the Cowboys, there's a good chance, I think, that they get the number one spot. Now, they do have a loss against the Rams, but the Rams have lost to Arizona, and they got to play Arizona again. And that division's tough. I know Russell Wilson's out, which kind of makes it less tough. But the Rams will lose some more games, probably, and Arizona will lose games. So I really think it's kind of down even right now to the Cowboys and the Bucs for the one spot. And really the only way the Bucs lose it with the head-to-head against the Cowboys is if they lose a couple games. Because the Cowboys could run the table from here. They could. I don't know if they will, but they could. So that would make them a one-loss team. I mean, this could really happen, guys. That's how much better they are than most of the teams they're going to face from here on out. And the Bucs are kind of in the same spot, where Arizona and the Rams are not. They got to play San Francisco, and they got to play, I think one of them has to play the Cowboys. So they could lose games. I don't know. But the NFC is probably going to have a one-loss team as their number one as well. Just like I feel like, see, the one thing is the Bills and the Bucs have to play. So one of those teams is going to have another loss. If it's the Bills, it probably won't matter. If it's the Bucs, it could cost them the one spot. And if everyone has to go to Dallas, that could be Dallas's ticket. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Bills and Bucs in November that's probably the best game coming up for sure. It's looking like a really cool game. But guys, this is all conjecture. Injuries derail things all the time. If Tom Brady goes down for 4 weeks, the Bucs could be a wild card team. If Dak Prescott goes down, this could change them to wild card teams instantly with one injury. Essentially, Seattle's out of any playoff run because of Russell Wilson injury. That's how detrimental that was to them. So even if they were going to make a run, it's over now. So, anyways, guys, thank you for hanging out with me for like an hour. whatever it's been, hour and 30 minutes. Again, you guys have a great day. I'm going to get out of here. I got to go to work in the morning. I've been to work in weeks. I'm going back to work. So you guys have a great day. I'll try to do this more, hang out with you guys more. I miss this myself. Yeah, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. Yeah. Again, you guys have a great day, and I'll be back on again, I promise. Just maybe not tomorrow or whatever. I got to work. So we'll see. And it's football. I love football. Y'all have a great night.